coffee or who knows what. As a result, they miss, their train or their bus or their airplane or something. Then, again, I'm using classic examples. Then next thing you know, that train was an accident.
And then some people might want to attribute that to like a guardian angel.
Yeah, someone contributes to a guardian angel. That gets into another issue of, are there discarnate spirits, are there guardian angels, or is it just a telepathic precognition?
What'd you find?
What?
What did you find as regards to that? Are there ghosts? Are there...
Oh, well, what's my conclusion?
Yeah.
That's a really tough one, because what you're talking about are two different hypotheses for the same thing, and frankly, there's not good evidence to distinguish between them. I mean, that's honestly my initial reaction, because there's very strong evidence for precognition. So are you precognitively knowing something, even if you aren't thinking about consciously but acting on it? I mean, there's a lot of evidence, even non-paranormal, that we do act on phenomena or sensory data without actually having consciously processed it. So could that simply be the case, or is it someone's literal guardian angel, or do the two concepts blend together?
Mm-hmm.
In many cases, what is a guardian angel? Maybe it's just having that little inner knowledge.
Exactly, that voice that comes out of the mind and just says, turn left instead of right, or don't take that train.
So in many cases, I think of something like that. Well, you can label whatever you want, but whatever's happening is real.
But as a scientist, as you look at this, what are you looking for that tells you that it's real? Replicability, a pattern?
Yes, actually, to me, the most fundamental thing for the type of science I do is patterns. In fact, I think that's the fundamental thing in any science. Even laboratory studies where people talk about replicable experiments, what they're really talking about is getting the same pattern consistently over and over. So whether you're talking about a pattern of consistent patterns in phenomena that are being reported by diverse people over diverse times in diverse cultures, or if you're talking about patterns in experiments in diverse labs, you're still talking about pattern recognition. So that's very important to me. And that's actually what convinced me of the reality of these types of paranormal phenomena, is that they don't just occur willy-nilly. They don't just occur, it's not a one-time thing. A lot of skeptics say, well, they just occur, one time, there's no replicability, there's no pattern. But that's not true at all. When you start studying these phenomena, there's very consistent patterns.
Well, and that takes me back to Jim Mars's book about the Psi-Spies, of the possibility of taking this knowledge and developing weapons based on it, the ability to control a population, for example.
Oh, I think that's being done already. Or there have been, in my opinion, and from what I know, that has been tried at least, or that's being developed.
What are some examples of that?
Well, I think there's actually a lot of evidence, and I hate to get into this, but because some of it is, we don't know exactly how well validated it is, and this is something I'm looking into now. But for instance, the former Soviet Union appears to have been trying to develop things like that, maybe even testing it in part on unwilling populations to try to essentially dumb down, in some cases, the collective mental abilities. By essentially what we could call paranormal or telepathic means. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect, which was certainly being developed both in the former Soviet Union and by America in the Cold War, was what we mentioned before, remote viewing. The possibility of being able to, quote, see into military installations, into weapon systems, et cetera, independent of, physically placing spies there or physically placing bugs there. Both, I think, showed some signs of success. Another thing that's very scary, for instance, I hate to say it, but things like we're so worried about terrorism nowadays.
Right.
And as we become more and more dependent upon very sophisticated electronic gadgetry, computers, that type of thing, they can be disturbed very simply in the sense of if someone develops a very strong psychokinetic ability to be able to affect things at a microscopic and subatomic level, as the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Program demonstrated could be the case. You could potentially have someone going into fairly sophisticated, say, navigation systems and essentially scrambling them.
Wow.
And you would just need to be random scrambling to cause havoc. I mean, there's a lot of scary things there if people really develop it.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought that for a while, Robert. I mean, at the turn of the 20th century, the single most powerful force on the planet was the British Navy.
Yeah.
Today, what's the British Navy? It's nothing. Why? Because the U.S. military came in with technology.
Yeah.
And I've always I have in the back of my mind that there's probably some kid in Indonesia right now that's developing maybe some kind of very simple but very powerful super weapon that can make the U.S. military look like the British Navy.
Oh, absolutely. Commander Bremseth, he included an article, very, very kindly let us reprint this article in our book, Parapsychology Revolution. He calls it Unconventional Human Intelligence Support, Transcendent and Asymmetric Warfare Implications of Remote Viewing.
Right.
And he hits just upon that type of thing that, the standard military, they're very much into, their high sophistication, electronic gadgets, smart bombs, you're going to target things precisely, precision, but everything's based on this high technology and sort of a one-way thinking, one mindset. And all you need is someone getting in there and thinking, as they say, outside the box.
Right.
And it can blow it completely. It can cause havoc.
Powerful. Robert, we've got to take another break. We'll be right back. This is William Henry. This is Dreamland. Be right back.
This is Whitley Strieber's Dreamland. We go deeper.
This is William Henry. This is Dreamland. We're continuing with Dr. Robert Schoch. Robert, a lot of talk today is about our relationship with the Galactic Center as we approach the Maya magic date of 2012. Many believe that we'll be experiencing energies reverberating from the Galactic Center and that these will bring heightened psychic abilities. And others claim hard evidence that our solar system is moving into a more energetic region of the galaxy and that this is going to affect not only social behavior but human consciousness and maybe even crack open latent abilities in our DNA. What are your thoughts about, from the perspective of our psychic abilities, our relationship with the Galactic Center?
It's really hard to predict exactly what's going to happen, if anything. But on the other hand, I cannot dismiss such speculation whatsoever. Why? Because we talked about patterns before. There are clear patterns of both spontaneous telepathy, spontaneous instances of paranormal abilities in a mental state with both geomagnetic flux and with our alignment to the galactic center. I mean, the Earth spins on its axis. It positions itself relative to the galactic center to a certain extent, any spot on Earth once every day, effectively, approximately once every day. There have been numerous studies now, very rigorous studies, correlating spontaneous cases of paranormal abilities, for instance, the ability to remote view, correlating with where a person is relative to the galactic center, whether the galactic center is above the horizon or below the horizon, for instance. So I'm convinced that there is some correlation that we know of even on a daily basis. So as we align with it, as the entire Earth aligns with it more firmly as we go toward 2012, for instance, could that cause something? I certainly think it might, but we don't really know enough. At least I don't feel comfortable that we know enough to predict exactly what will happen, what's going to go on.
Good enough. Well, let's then talk about the whole idea of the ending of the Mayan calendar is about the conclusion of a very long time cycle. Mm-hmm. But let's then talk about our natural abilities and time cycles, or world ages.
Oh, yeah. This is a fascinating topic, and as you know, that's something we talked about at the Conference on Precession and Ancient Knowledge. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that this ties into the bigger picture